Hey, everybody, we have been studying poems. So, before we analyze a poem together, we're actually going to go over the elements of poetry like we have every morning in morning meeting. Okay, so imagery. Imagery is pretty much what the poet wants to get across to you. Okay, what image is it painting in your mind? Why did they write it? Is this a poem about love? Is this a poem about anger? It's the author's tone. Okay, then there's lines. Lines are like sentences, okay? Each line or each sentence in a poem. Stanzas are like the paragraphs of poems. So it's like 4 lines to every stanza, sometimes more, sometimes less. Poet is the author of a poem. Rhyme scheme, that's what we're actually going to be analyzing today. But rhyme scheme is the pattern that a poem follows if it rhymes. Okay, so you always look at the last word of every single line and to determine the rhyme scheme. Speaker. So the speaker is who's telling the poem. Sometimes it will start off as I am a cat. Okay, so you know that the speaker is the cat, even though the cat obviously isn't the poet because cats can't write poems. Okay, you know your speaker, you identify your speaker, and it is a cat. Rhythm. So whenever you read poems, there's usually a amount of stressed and unstressed syllables, and that causes a rhythm. So as you read, it follows a pattern. So it's important to be really fluent readers. I always tell kids if you want to read faster, read poems because it forces you to follow that rhythm and to keep up. And lastly, figurative language. A lot of times, poems, they never come out and directly say what they want to say. It's always a deep meaning, just like with imagery. There's always imagery in a poem. It usually uses figurative language, which is phrases that don't mean exactly what they say. So let's analyze a poem together. We are going to analyze a poem called The Festival of Colors. Okay, The Festival of Colors. So we see that this right here would be our lines. Do you see these lines? They're like a sentence, but typically, like this would really be a sentence. Rainy is visiting India just in time for celebration, and you know that because it ends with a period. But we don't worry about that. A line just goes all the way across. So there's 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines, 4 lines. Okay, so there are 4 lines per stanza. This right here is a stanza. I'm actually going to go ahead and label that. Stanza. I'm going to turn it so that we can remember what that's called. So there's 4 lines per stanza. It doesn't give our poet on here, but it's actually from Raz. So whoever writes the Raz poems, we know they are our poet. So each stanza is 4 lines, and within a stanza, you want to be able to identify the rhyme scheme. So the rhyme scheme is typically the same in every single stanza. So if you find the rhyme scheme in the first stanza, it should be the same in the second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on. So let's see. Whenever you're doing a rhyme scheme, you label it with letters. So Rainy is visiting India just in time for a celebration. Her cousins say a festival is being held across the nation. You want to look at your last words: India, celebration, festival, nation. Which out of those 4 words rhyme? Which 2 words rhyme? India, celebration, festival, nation. Very good. Celebration and nation. Tion makes the shun sound. Okay, so this would be labeled as A because we always start with A as our rhyme scheme. So this line is A. Our next line would be B because it doesn't rhyme with A. C doesn't rhyme with A or B, so this would be C, line C. But wait, this word does rhyme with A, B, or C. So we're going to pair it with the other letter that it rhymes with. So this actually would be B. So our rhyme scheme in this poem would be A, B, C, B. Okay, let's look at the next stanza and just to double check our rhyme scheme. It's a holiday to celebrate the start of the new spring. It's a time to come together to play and dance and sing. Remember, we look at our last word celebrate, spring, together, sing. Which one of those four words rhyme? So, which pair of words rhyme? Celebrate, spring, together, sing. Very good. Spring and sing, they have different beginning sounds but the same ending sounds. So, therefore, you know that they rhyme. So, let's check our rhyme scheme. Our very first line in every stanza, it starts over new. Okay, so we're at our new stanza. I know this because there is a space right here. Just like with paragraphs, you make a space. It's a holiday to celebrate, so we need to start over with our alphabet and label it A. The start of the new spring. Spring does not rhyme with celebrate, so we're going to label it B. A time to come together. Together doesn't rhyme with A or B, so we're going to label it C. To play and dance and sing. Hold up. Sing rhymes with spring. So we're going to go ahead and label it the letter that it goes with. So we're going to label it B. So again, our rhyme scheme is A, B, C, B. Okay, next stanza. How do I know it's the next stanza? Because it has this big space right here. And there are 4 lines per stanza in this particular poem. All right, it says Rainy helps make dumplings, desserts filled with nuts and raisins. There are many tasty treats to eat on this happy, fun occasion. I love that beat. Ready? Rainy helps make dumplings, desserts filled with nuts and raisins. There are many tasty treats to eat on this happy, fun occasion. So you have to keep up and you have to read it quickly. So Rainy helps make dumplings. So our words dumplings, desserts filled with nuts and raisins. There are many tasty treats to eat on this happy, fun occasion. So which one of those words rhyme? Dumplings, raisins, eat, occasion. Good. Occasion, raisin. Okay, underline them. All right, so our first line of this stanza is going to get which letter? Very good. It's going to get an A. Okay, our next line does not rhyme with the first line. Dumplings and raisins does not rhyme, so we're going to label this B. Our next line, eat does not rhyme with raisins or dumplings, so we've got to label this line as C. And hold up, occasion rhymes with raisins, so we know that we have to label it the same letter that raisins is labeled, so we know it is B. So again, our rhyme scheme is checking out A, B, C, B. We have 3 more stanzas to go. Tossing the colorful powder is what Rainy can't wait to do. Green for spring and red for love. Don't forget the yellow, pink, and blue. Okay, so our words that we're going to look at are the last words of the line. Powder, do, love, blue. Now, this one's hard because they're not spelled the same. And a lot of times it's easy to identify rhyming words because they're spelled the same, but this one, that's not the case. So let's see if you can identify them. Powder, do, love, blue. Which one of those 2 words have the same ending sound? Good. Do and blue. I'm going to underline them. So now tossing the colorful powder is labeled in A because it starts over. We start back at the very beginning of the alphabet with every stanza. Is what Rainy can't wait to do. This doesn't rhyme with the first one, so we got to label it a different letter. Green for spring and red for love. Okay, that doesn't rhyme with anything, so it needs to be C. Don't forget the pink. Don't forget the yellow, pink, and blue. Blue rhymes with do, so it's going to be B. All right, we'll go through these quick. She joins her cousin in the street. They throw powder in the air. It gets all over her skin and clothes. It's on her hair. It's on her face and in her hair. Street, air, clothes, hair. Which one of those rhyme? Good. Air and hair. So this would be, again, A, B, C, B. Like I said, usually if you find that first stanza's rhyme scheme, you'll be able to find it with all the other stanzas. Rainy is covered in colors. She laughs and plays and cheers. The festival is so much fun. She might come again next year. So our last words in each line is colors, cheers, fun, year. Which one of those words rhyme? Very good. Cheers, year. So colors and fun do not rhyme. So this would be A, B, C, B. Have you ever attended something that's like a festival of colors? I know that they used to have like the color run where you'd run marathons and people would throw powdered color at you. I actually did that in Paducah and it was a lot of fun. If you have done something like this, I'd love to hear about it. I'm so glad that we were able to analyze poems and go over all the elements of poetry. I love learning about poetry, don't you? I will see you guys tomorrow and we will analyze another poem together. Have a great Thursday.